Life Redesigned, where we grow through what we go through. Oh gosh, today we are talking about my top two favorite ways to create more free time. Can't wait to share with you. First and foremost, I want you to let me know in the comments how you are doing about your schedule. Let me know, give me a one if your schedule is like crazy, off the wall, it's completely not organized. And give me a five if you are like, I am rocking my schedule, I've got all this free time, I'm doing every single thing that I want to do, and everything is wonderful. Let me know in the comments. Would love to hear that. First and foremost, when we are talking about creating more free time, the first thing that we need to do is make time for what matters most. Okay, I know this seems very contradictory where you're like, I know, but I thought it was going to be this like tangible thing that we're doing. I am going to get into two tangible things that we're doing, or that I want you to start practicing, but this is first and foremost what is most important before you start to do the two things that I'm going to mention. I need you to ask yourself this question: what matters most to me? What matters to me? What is my why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is important to me? The key is not necessarily to prioritize what's on your schedule, but it's to schedule what your priorities are. Okay, so it's not to prioritize what's on your schedule necessarily, but it's to make sure to schedule what your priorities are. If it is important to you right now to spend time with your children unapologetically, without working, to be at home with them, then that is time that you need to schedule. Time with your spouse, time with your pets, time away for a vacation. All of that needs to be scheduled. So I need you to first and foremost ask yourself, what matters the most? Okay. What matters the most to you? This is also, you hear me talk so much about your why. Your why is your driving point and your driving reason, and your driving everything for everything that you do in life. It revolves around strategy. It revolves around your work schedule. It revolves around your home. It revolves around your goals, your future, all of that. It also revolves around what we're talking about today. So again, getting to know what your why is, staying true to that, and knowing what matters most to you. A lot of times we do the things that will make us like initially and instantly feel better. Like if you have a bunch of laundry piling up, we'll do all the laundry because then we're like, oh, okay, like now I feel a ton better. I feel like I got everything done. Now there's no laundry. But we didn't actually do what it is that we wanted to do, which was like spend time with our kids at the park. Okay. Or maybe it was like to work toward that other goal that you are looking to achieve. So it's really prioritizing what that looks like. I mean, because at the end of the day, while it could be a short-term feel good, is it going to equal your long-term feel good? So sometimes that short-term feel good doesn't match up with our long-term feel good of what we're looking to achieve 6 months, a year down the road. So if I have my to-do list, often we think like, okay, I've got to run through my to-do list and I've got to run errands and I've got to go to this thing, and that we feel that short-term satisfaction, like I got a lot done. I was really busy, but were you really busy working toward your business? Were you really busy working toward what matters most to you? If the answer is I don't know or no, then we need to reprioritize your schedule, and we need to schedule in the priorities first before we schedule in work. Okay, one more time. We have to schedule in the priorities first before we schedule in the work. That comes first. We have to make time for what matters. Another something to think about to go along with this, we have to stop thinking that we are at the mercy of time, and we have to allow time to start working for us. We're going to make time work for us because we're going to prioritize the things that matter. We're going to make time work for the things that matter. Let me give you an example. When I was, I was in like the height of running 3 studios. I had opened a second studio in January, and I was starting to open the third one like literally like that fall or like that next year. Like I was so, I can't even, busy doesn't even explain it. I was losing my mind. I was going through personal stuff that was really, really hard in my relationship, and it was just everywhere all around. It was so much. And what I knew I needed something to like ground me because I felt all over the place. And I specifically remember joining this group at church, and they were like, we're going to meet every single Monday morning from this time to this time. And I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to pull this off. I don't even have time to like go to the bathroom, let alone like be in this group at church for like 2.5 hours every single Monday morning. And I was like, you know what? This matters to me. It's going to ground me. Like I need a breath of fresh air, and I need something to slow me down. And I made the commitment, and I quickly told people that I was committing to doing it and to being there so that they would hold me accountable. And just crazy like that. And lo and behold, I was there every 2.5 hours, and somehow I gained time. Like I just gained time to get things done, and everything worked out. We forget that when we do the things that matter most, that also equals we are happy, we are fulfilled. So when we do sit down to work, we're ready to drive forward, and we're ready to achieve the things that we want to achieve during that time, because we stayed true to our priorities, which is our why. Okay, that's bringing me into number one, my first favorite thing. So what matters most, that's first and foremost. My first favorite thing to help you create more free time is to schedule time blocks. This is a must. If you are not doing it right now, it has to be done. If you haven't read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, I'm going to challenge you to read it, and read it right now. It is so important, and for me was completely life-changing, and focusing on how I did my time block. I used to time block, meaning like, I have to run my business and I have to be available from this time to this time every single day in case a message comes in case an email comes in case this needs, in case. And what I found is I spent all the time working and never getting anything done. And all I was feeling like I was like in this rat race of running around and just doing all this stuff. And like, I never actually felt like I was like super like getting closer to my goals and achieving those certain things that I need to. And then I wasn't spending quality time with my children and my family and my friends because I was always on my phone, or I was always running late, or I was just like always coming in hot. I'm gonna drop me some fire below if you're like always coming in hot right now. I spent so many years of my life always just coming in hot. Like, what's the guy's name on Seinfeld? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Somebody's tell me his name in the comments. Kramer. Okay, Kramer, when he like slides to the door with his hair out, that was me for so many years. And then I just made this conscious decision to do some different things, some of which came from that book, and some of which came from implementation of things I needed to do as a single mom. And I just made the decision. And I changed things that I changed my way, because if you keep doing the same thing that you've always done and you expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity. So I changed what I was doing, and this has worked wonders. So I want you to focus on time blocking. The strategy of time blocking has 1,000,000,000,000,000% created so much more free time in my life. And this is why it's absolutely like exponential, like what this can do for you. So here's what you need. You need to figure out where your priorities are, and based around that, how much time do you have to focus and plan for work. Let me give you an example. I'll give you a little bit of an example of like my schedule, my time blocking. So every Monday, all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and half day on Wednesday, I have my kids. I'm a single mom. Both of my kids, they each have different fathers. So I'm a single mom, and that's time with my kids. Maybe I'll answer a question or two if something is really needed, but outside of that, I don't work during those times. I don't do live videos during those times. I don't schedule meetings. I'm not in a communities chat. Like I'm not, like active on social media necessarily. Like I'm going in and posting when I need to and doing that stuff, but I'm not necessarily, those are not my peak engagement days of things that I'm doing. Okay. I am doing things like going to the park with my kids. I homeschool my oldest son. So we've got a whole nother time block for things that we're doing there, but that is my time with the kids. The second that they leave on Wednesday, I have a time block of Wednesday afternoon that is designed for meetings only. from this time to this time are my meetings, and that's the only thing I can schedule. If I'm like, oh, I don't have any meetings that day, I'm gonna go in and like do I'm gonna record a video, or I'm gonna like record some content. Nope. I don't do it. I don't do it. I keep that for live meetings. If there's no like live meetings that I have, meeting with my team, meeting with my employees, meeting with my, whatever it might be, I keep that open-ended to answer messages, to anything. I then have a time block to go to my studio, and then a time block that it's just designated just for the studio. So sometimes I don't have anything on the docket for the studio. And sometimes I'll walk in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to put all the, I walked in this past Wednesday and I was like, I need to get all this clothing on sale. I totally forgot. And I worked on that and I rearranged some stuff. And then I worked on choreography and planned for my classes. Sometimes I walk in there and it's just choreography. Sometimes I walk in there, it's just answering work those work emails. Cause I have multiple streams of income. So I have multiple things that I'm doing. I then have classes Wednesday night. That time is designated only for class times. Guess what? I'm the owner of my studio. Okay. When my instructors have to talk to me about something big that requires my attention and time, and they come up to me at the studio and say, they might start a conversation with me, I will set that boundary and say, hey, I want to give you my full attention. Can we set a time to talk about this next Wednesday when I have my time block reserved for meetings, live meetings? Okay. So it's really like setting in what the only things that are allowed during that time block. So if I have, okay, so let's keep going. Thursdays, it's that same thing. I've got a time block for classes only. I've got it, right? So I have these chunks of time blocks. Wednesday and Monday through Thursday, everything stays the same. Like things don't shift. I also have time blocks that are available for like they're open. They're open for negotiation and they're open for us to do different things. So when I run my homeschool time blocks, I will have a time block, the third Monday of every month that is like open for whatever. And we might decide to go on a field trip. We might decide to go to the park. We might decide to stay home. We might decide to do extra work. It's just open for whatever we are feeling that way. That is a priority for us and something we have to put on the schedule. So time blocking is, it's like those chunks of time that you intentionally schedule what it is that you need to get done. And here's the thing, you need to schedule the deep work. Deep work has to come first. Okay. So when you time block, you've got like answering emails, like all of that stuff. The most important work that requires the most amount of like energy, time, all of that needs to happen first. Okay. I know we just want to do like all the little things first because those are the easiest, but I'm going to challenge you to switch that around and change your mindset and do the deep work and the hardest stuff first. So let's talk about, now that we kind of like have an idea for time blocking, let me know in the comments if you have questions about time blocking. And I'm gonna post a Life Redesign time block, or what's the words? Words are really hard today. Like a little daily like calendar, so that you can actually like write everything down. Like if you love things on paper, if you have an online calendar that you use, that's great. I do. I also like our homeschool calendar. I post on the fridge so my son knows exactly what we're doing and the times that we're doing them all day, and he like thrives off of that structure. So let's talk about what happens during those time blocks. You don't want to have a time block of just an hour. So we want those time blocks to be at least 3 to 6 hours. Okay. Again, deep work happens first, because when you start, that's when you have the most energy. You don't want to start with the little things. And by the time you get to the 5th hour of your time block, you're like, I'm tired. Maybe you didn't eat a good meal. Maybe, whatever might have happened. So you want to dive into the deep work first. And then it's kind of like I always think of it as like a reward to do all the little stuff after, because you can pound that out even when you're tired and even when you feel like you're distracted. When you're doing all of this deep work, your cell phone's got to be on silent. The TV's got to be off. All your distractions, as many distractions as possible, need to be off. You need to limit your distractions. And when I talk about that, when you are time blocking, you are not running laundry while you are time blocking for work. Okay. Here's why. When you're in your deep work, you're doing all this deep work, you're like set into it. And then all of a sudden you hear the you hear the dryer stop. It goes ee, and it stops. And you're like, okay, I gotta go fold the laundry because if I don't fold it now, the wrinkles are gonna get in the clothes. And you go downstairs and then you start folding and then you put the clothes away. And then you're like, oh my gosh, my closet's really unorganized. And then you're like, I gotta move some stuff around. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like I feel like changing my clothes. And then you're like, oh, I forgot about this cute pair of shoes. I mean, you're like completely like, oh my gosh, like I forgot I was gonna get a new pair of earrings with that sweater. I'm gonna go online I'm gonna go on Amazon really quick. And you're like sidetracked, you're out of your time block. See what I'm saying? You have to limit your distractions, turn off your alerts. I'm going to challenge you to even close your email. Like if multitasking is really, really challenging for you, close your email, turn off all your Facebook notifications, like turn it off. You honestly, like I don't even have that stuff on my phone. Like if there's a time that I need to be available and I need to be engaging, I will go in, I will turn the notifications on. But for the most part, I have set times that I check my Facebook post to respond. I have set times that I check my community channel with 35 of my staff. I've set times of like of how I do of when I do all that stuff. Okay. So that's really, really, really important. You don't want to do anything like I was saying, you don't want to do anything personal. During this time, you want this time to be just work. So your time blocking for work is only work. You're not doing laundry. You're not meal prepping. It's only for work. And you've got an order of what it is that you're doing during that time block, and you're going to stick to it. Okay. You're not going to make any calls. You're not going to make any incoming calls. Here's what you're going to do instead. If you're working through your deep work, okay, let's say your deep work is to plan for a new course that you have coming up, or to plan for a new training for your team, or to plan out your goals for the next 6 months, whatever it might be. Or for me, it's like plan out my homeschool schedule. Like I need just like full focus on how I'm doing that and how everything can come together. But let's say I'm focused on planning out everything for homeschooling. If I'm doing that and I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to ask so-and-so about the curriculum that they're using, I'm not going to call them. Isn't that funny that we still do this? It's like, I feel like this shows you how old you are. It's like, I'm not going to call them because really it's like, that's just so funny. Anyways, I'm not going to call that person right then and there to be like, hey, I'm doing, I'm just wondering what curriculum you use, because here's what's going to happen. We all know I'm going to call, we're going to talk about curriculum. Then we're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you forever. How are the kids? And how's this going? Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, and she asked me a question, and now we're off to the races of getting off track. And next thing you know, we're planning lunch. And next thing you know, I forgot about my other friend I was supposed to plan lunch with. The next thing you know, I'm like, oh my, we're off schedule. We're off schedule. All right. So what you're going to do instead is you're going to keep if you're paper, you're going to keep a paper to-do list right next to you of things that you need to do at the end of your time block that are little things. Because remember, we're doing the deep work first. And you're like, call Jody about homeschool curriculum. Email Carrie about lunch date. Follow up with Kim about coaching. These are all little things that you're doing at the very end. Okay. Deep work first. You should have time blocked so if your time block is here, your deep work comes first. You have time blocked out for communication, which is what we were just talking about. Block that time out. I usually do that time. I usually do it at the end because my communication typically it doesn't end up being just the thing that I that I wrote down, ends up being like a little something else. And sometimes it's like, it depends on the day. Sometimes if my deep work involves like a lot of, recording for my courses, or like if I'm doing staff evals, like I have to book my communication on a completely different day, because sometimes I just need that mental break to like not communicate anymore and I have to schedule it for a different day. So I sometimes schedule that on my own because I like to be really present and aware in communication. And so I do set pretty hefty boundaries around that. You do want to schedule breaks. When I do time blocking, I typically time block something. I time block like when I'm going to eat. So when I drop my kids off Wednesday at noon, I time block that I'm dropping them off. I come directly home, I eat, and I'm ready to roll by 12:30. And then I time block my chunk of time that's ready for live meetings with no interruptions. So I can tend to go like pretty long without taking a break. Some of you may not do that. Like for homeschool, I can't do that because I can work long, but my son has the attention span that lasts for like 0 seconds. So I know, not 0 seconds, but I know about how long I can take him and push him. And then we have to do what are called brain breaks. Like he's got to move around. We have to exercise and we have to take those breaks. And I schedule those in. So if you need breaks, schedule them in. If you can swing it, where you can do like a time block of at least, that 3 to 6 hours or 3 to 4. Like I don't snack. I don't do anything. Because when I get up and I go to get a snack, I'm like, oh, I forgot I gotta get groceries. Should I make a grocery list really quick? I don't really like these snacks. You know what? I'm gonna ask my sister if she has any ideas about like different snacks I can have. It's like I just like it's so easy to get off track. I don't know about you guys. Okay, and then obviously, like your sleep is a scheduled chunk in there, so you want to make sure that you have that scheduled. And then, like we talked about, your free time. So time blocking is really important. Check out the comments below this video for me to share with you the calendar that I have, the Life Redesign calendar. It's just really basic, but I'd love for you to fill it out. Let me know what you're doing in a day. I'm happy to look at your schedule to kind of help finagle some stuff and help you time block. We can also do some, a couple one-on-one coaching sessions, or even like one-on-one coaching sessions. Being a single mom of 2 children with 2 different dads that are in 2 different households outside of here. I homeschool my oldest. I technically homeschool my youngest. She's 2.5, but I do homeschool work with her when she's here. I run my son's entire double sports schedule for the entire year. I run a almost $1 million business, and then I run this group, my Life Redesigned. I run a podcast. So like the way that my days go, I have to rock my schedule out, or literally like ish hits the fan. You know what I'm saying? So if there's anything that you need help with, just drop me a comment below and just write me, and let's connect and go over your schedule together. Let's just schedule like a quick half hour together. I'll take a look at your calendar. I'll help you kind of time block things and help you kind of see where you can create that a little bit more free time within the time that you're doing. And here's the thing, you guys, don't feel shameful for like going through this. It's so helpful to have people that are going through stuff, that have like a lot on their plate, to be able to help look at your calendar. It's not like one day, it's not like every single day of my life I was like, I am awesome at time blocking, and like, I like figured this out through a lot of failure and a lot of really just like trial by survival. You know what I mean? It's not like I didn't think I was going to be a single mom. I thought I was going to have another parent in the household to help. And so I just really had to figure out what was going to work, and how I was going to work everything. And so these are just ways that I've learned through living life and running my business and launching a new brand and hitting my podcast numbers. So I'm super happy to help with you. And I don't want you to be like, well, I'm not going to ask her because I'm going to feel really stupid if she looks at my schedule and she's like, oh my gosh, that's what you're doing. Like, don't feel that way. I had somebody look at my schedule to hold me accountable too. So like, we've just, I don't know, just what I'm saying is like, don't feel shameful about asking for help with this. Because it's hard, it's really, really hard. And like, kids and spouses and the world, like there's just all sorts of distractions, and it's really hard. Anyway, so please don't hesitate to ask. I want to sit down with you and go over it. Super happy to look at your one-day schedule if you want to post it in the comments, and then just write me in the comments if you want to schedule like just a half-hour quick time together of you and I, of me taking a look at that through a little and just doing a little bit of coaching. Okay. So the first one was time blocking. That's my first thing. The second thing is to delegate and outsource. This is huge for me in my life. Those of you that joined me last month joined me for Delegation Domination. And running an almost $1 million business is like, again, it's insane. And everything that is, that runs in my life, like it does have to be pretty psycho. I'm not gonna lie, because it's just really hard. And there is no way I can do everything myself, so I have to delegate. So as a business owner, I think one of the things that really sets me apart from other small business owners that maybe don't have this at home is like being a single parent pretty much the whole time that I've been running a business, and my business will turn 10 this year. Because I was a single mom, I was really forced to delegate. Delegation in business is really scary. And it's really hard. It's really hard because we know that we are the people that are always going to do the best, us as owners. And it's just nerve-wracking. Outsourcing is like, spending the money on doing that, on delegating and outsourcing is like, and I was just always in positions where it was like, if I'm going to survive and I'm going to make it, like these are the things that I have to do. So in a way, I kind of feel like it worked toward my advantage, So the first thing would be delegating. Yeah, the real question is not necessarily like how we can do it all. It's who we will get to choose what. It's how we will choose what we do and what we don't do. So it's not like, how am I going to do all of this? It's instead like, okay, all of this needs to get done. Here's what I'm going to do. And these are the things that I'm going to delegate and outsource to. For example, I've got, anywhere from upwards to 35 people in staff. We use a communication channel called Slack for our communication. And sometimes there will be a staff member that posts in the chat on like a Monday afternoon. Let's say their question is, does anybody have Kara's email address? I need to ask her something about class. Okay, number one, I know that I've already in a way I've delegated and outsourced that because my staff we have staff binders that are online that they can access, and that information is actually in a sheet in our live binder. So sometimes, like, it's like for me, I'm not in a position where I'm answering work stuff because I'm doing homeschool or I'm with my kids. And so I will give that gives an opportunity for somebody else on my staff that maybe does have the time right then and there to be able to answer, or one of my management teams to be able to point them in the right direction. Okay. So like my staff on my management team know when I'm homeschooling and know when like the hours that I'm not available. But if somebody does ask during the day, you give other people a chance to answer. If somebody asks something, if one of your team members asks something in your group, you don't have to be the person that's like, wow, like right away. And like, you don't always have to be working and always responding. It's okay if somebody else responds like, hey, what kind of appointments do you run on Thursdays? And somebody else in your group that is your customer goes, oh, here's her schedule. Check it out on our website. Like people are always willing to do that. I do that in other chats. So like when I have time to actually engage on Facebook or social media, sometimes I'm in other groups and people will ask questions and I'm like, oh, here's the link. Like, here's the link to the event that we're going to. You know what I mean? Like, just allow people to help out. You don't always have to be the first one to answer. The other thing is like, if you are going to answer, just wait until you can look at your calendar. If that's something you need to do, like wait till you're present in order to be able to respond. So, because that's just going to make it more effective. So delegating is necessary. I mean, especially if you're a high achiever. I think just if you're in your mind, you're mentally, you're like ready to achieve everything that you possibly can. We just naturally, I think too, as women, if you're a people pleaser like me, we just say yes to a lot, just to everything. But when you are successful, the most successful business owners, and the most successful people that allow themselves to enjoy their free time, delegate things. Okay. So that also means outsourcing. I outsource my cleaning at my home. Do I clean outside of that? I do. And I actually, as a homeschool mom, we clean together, but that is something that I outsource in my home, because I find value in the time that it takes to do that. Like, to have like that deep clean, that's something I've decided to outsource. I have outsourced accounting in my business because it is extremely time consuming to me. Like it eventually got very time consuming to me, and I needed to set that aside and have somebody else do that work and pay for that work. There are things I outsource people teaching my classes. I outsource having management staff to run my studio, and then I oversee all of that. So I outsource a lot in my business, and which has created a system for me for the business to be able to run extremely effectively. So, don't be afraid to share responsibilities. Don't be afraid to do like tradesies. Like if you've got, if somebody needs your house cleaned, if you have the time, but they can do something for you in return of like something that you need in your life, you know what I mean? Like you could clean their house and they run your social media or something like that. Like, don't be afraid to tradesies and don't be afraid to ask around in your community on how you can outsource and make that work. It's so important. For so long, I had and even still, sometimes, I've done like getting massages and then people taking free classes and then I like my dog right now gets, I trade with my dog groomer classes and getting my dog groomed. So just what makes sense to you in your life, things maybe like cleaning or taxes, finances are like a good one to outsource, maybe even like content writing, social media is really helpful, just anything that you can get some assistance with, so you can do what you can do the deep work, and maybe you just kind of get some assistance of that in order to be able to complete everything. Yeah, and then I think, even like thinking about hiring a coach, I think that that's a great one to really help you outsource and create a way that you can actually kind of manage your time and manage what it is that you are doing. So it's important to not just like delegate everything and like outsource everything. Like, it's really important for you to be strategic on how you do it, and a coach can really, really help you with that. So that's what I mean. This isn't a subject where you're like, well, I feel really stupid that I'm like not good at this. Don't feel that way. This is another thing in business and in life that's really, really important. It's going to help us like, value our money, value our time, be able to live the life of our dreams, be able to work our priorities. So look into something like that to be able to really focus on this, because it's an integral part of everything that you do. So recapping, let's talk about it one more time. The first and foremost thing that we're going to talk about and ask ourselves is what matters. What matters to me? You're going to write it down. You're going to schedule that in your calendar and schedule first what matters most. The first thing that you're going to do to create more free time is you're going to time block. You're going to create those time blocks and do your deep work first. Okay. The second thing that you're going to do is you're going to delegate or outsource. And remember, there's a strategy to this. Life strategy and business strategy is so important when you're doing this. So again, let me know in the comments if it's something that you want to take a look at together. I love this stuff, and it's trial by error. Like if you're in a space where you're like, this is like a terrible part of my life, like I'm sucking at it so bad. I'm just like so bad at it. Yeah, I mean, I've totally been there. I think we've all been there, So it's a great way to really kickstart and jumpstart your year, to really focus on your why, stay true to your why, and jumpstart your goals. So let me know if you have any questions. And again, I'm going to drop the calendar in the comments, and I want to see your daily calendar. I want to take a peek at it. Let's just share. We can help each other out. Maybe some other people have got some really great stuff for you as well. And let me know in the comments, say me, if it's something that you and I want to work on together, and we can take a peek. All right, y'all, I can't wait to see you next time. Life Redesigned, where we grow through what we go through. I'm so excited for 2023. Thank you for joining me and listening to my top 2 things that help me create more free time, and I will talk to you soon.